Valmiki Ramayana, Aranya Kanda, Book number 3, Sarga 11, Roman numerals, XI 11, AGASTYA. Rama went foremost of the three, next Sita followed, fair to see, and Lakshman with his bow in hand walked hindmost of the little band. As onward through the wood they went, with great delight their eyes were bent on rocky heights beside the way, and lofty trees with blossoms gay, and streamlets running fair and fast. The royal youths with Sita passed. They watched the saras and the drake on islets of the stream and lake, and gazed delighted on the floods, bright with gay birds and lotus buds. They saw in startled herds the roes, the passion frenzied buffaloes, wild elephants who fiercely tore the tender trees, and many a boar. A length of woodland way they passed, and when the sun was low at last, a lovely stream-fed lake they spied, 2 leagues across from side to side. Tall elephants fresh beauty gave to grassy bank and lilied wave. By many a swan and saras stirred, mallard and gay-winged water bird, from those sweet waters loud and long, though none was seen to wake the song, swelled high the singer's music blent with each melodious instrument. Rama and car-born Lakshman heard the charming strain, with wonder stirred, turned on the margent of the lake to Dharmabhite the sage and spake, our longing souls, O hermit, burn this music of the lake to learn. We pray thee, noblest sage, explain the cause of the mysterious strain. He, as the son of Raghu prayed, with swift accord his answer made. And thus the hermit, virtuous souled, the story of the fair lake told. Through every age 'tis known to fame, Pancha Apsaras its glorious name. By holy Mandakarini wrought, with power his rites austere had bought. For he, great votarist intent, on strictest rule his stern life spent. 10,000 years the stream his bed, 10,000 years on air he fed. Then on the blessed gods who dwell in heavenly homes great terror fell. They gathered all by Agni led, and counsel thus disquieted. The hermit, by ascetic pain, the seat of one of us would gain. Thus, with their hearts by fear oppressed, in full assembly spoke the blessed, and bade 5 loveliest nymphs as fair as lightning in the evening air, armed with their winning wiles seduce from his stern vows the great recluse. Though Lord of earth and heaven he knew, the hermit from his task they drew, and made the great ascetic slave to conquering love, the gods to save. On the heavenly fife became bound to the sage, his wedded dame, and he, for his beloved sake, formed a fair palace neath the lake. Under the flood the ladies live, to joy and ease their days they give, and lap in bliss the hermit wooed, from penance rites to youth renewed. So when the sportive nymphs within those sacred bowers their play begin, you hear the singers' dulcet tones blend sweetly with their tinkling zones. How wondrous are these words of thine, cried the famed chiefs of Ragu's line. And thus they heard the sage unfold the marvels of the tale he told. As Rama spake, his eyes were bent upon a hermit settlement, with light of heavenly lore endued, with sacred grass and vesture strewed, his wife and brother by his side, within the holy bounds he hide. And there, with honor entertained, by all the saints a while remained, in time by due succession led, each votaries cot he visited. And then the Lord of martial lore returned where he had lodged before. Here for the months content he stayed, there for a year his visit paid. Here for 4 months his home would fix, there as it chanced for 5 or 6. Here for 8 months, and there for 3, the son of Ragus stay would be. Here weeks, there fortnights, more or less, he spent in tranquil happiness. As there the hero dwelt at ease among those holy devotees. In days untroubled o'er his head, then circling years of pleasure, 10 circling years of pleasure fled. So Raghu's son, in duty trained, a while in every cot remained. Then with his dame retraced the road to good Sutikshna's calm abode, hailed by the saints with honors due. Near to the hermit's home he drew, and there the tamer of his foes dwelt for a time in sweet repose. One day within the holy wood, by Saint Sutikshma Rama stood, and thus the prince with reverence meek to that high sage began to speak. In wide woodlands that extend around us, Lord most reverend, as frequent voice of rumor tells, AGASTYA, saintliest hermit dwells. So vast the wood, I cannot trace the path to reach his dwelling place, nor searching unassisted find that hermit of the thoughtful mind. I, with my wife and brother fain, would go his favor to obtain. Would seek him in his lone retreat, and the great saint with reverence greet. This one desire, O Master, long cherished within my heart is strong, that I may pay of free accord my duty to that hermit lord. And thus the prince, whose heart was bent on virtue, told his firm intent. The good Sutikshna's joy rose high, and thus in turn he made reply. The very thing, O Prince, which thou hast sought, I wish to urge, but now bid thee with wife and brother see, Agastya, glorious devotee. I count this thing an omen fair, that thou shouldst thus thy wish declare. And I, my prince, will gladly teach the way Agastya's home to reach. Southward, dear son, direct thy feet, 8 leagues beyond this still retreat. Agastya's hermit brother there dwells in a home most bright and fair. 'Tis on a knoll of woody ground, with many a branching people crowned. There sweet birds' voices ne'er are mute, and trees are gay with flower and fruit. There many a lake gleams bright and cool, and lilies deck each pleasant pool, while swan and crane and mallard's wings are lovely in the water springs. There for one night, O Rama, stay, and with the dawn pursue thy way. Still farther, bending southward by the thicket's edge, the course must lie. And thou wilt see 2 leagues from thence Agastya's lovely residence, set in the woodland's fairest spot. All varied foliage decks the cut. There Sita, Lakshman, thou at ease may spend sweet hours 'neath shady trees, for all of noblest growth are found luxuriant on that bosky ground. If it be still thy firm intent to see that saint preeminent, O mighty counselor, this day depart upon thine onward way. The hermit spake, and Rama bent his head with Lakshman reverent, and then with him and Janak's child set out to trace the forest wild. He saw dark woods that fringed the road, and distant hills like clouds that showed. And as the way he followed met with many a lake and rivulet, so passing on with ease where led the path Sutikshna bade him tread. The, the hero with exulting breast his brother in these words addressed. Here surely is the home in sight of that illustrious anchorite. Here great Agastya's brother leads a life intent on holy deeds, warned of each guiding mark and sign. I see them all herein combine. I see the branches bending low, beneath the flowers and fruit they show. A soft air from the forest springs, fresh from the odorous grass, and brings a spicy fragrance as it flees o'er the ripe fruit of peepal trees. See here and there around us nigh, piled up in heaps cleft billets lie. A holy grass is gathered bright as strips of shining lazulite. Full in the center of the shade, the hermit's holy fires is laid. I see its smoke, the pure heaven streak, dense as a big cloud's dusky peak. The twice born men they steps retrace, from each sequestered bathing place. And each his sacred gift has brought of blossoms which his hands have sought. Of all these signs, dear brother, each agrees with good Sutikshna's speech. And doubtless in this holy bound, Agastya's brother will be found. Agastya once the worlds who viewed with love a death-like fiend subdued, and armed with mighty power obtained by holy works this grove ordained to be a refuge and defense from all oppressors' violence. In days of yore, within this place, two brothers fierce of demon race, Vatapi dire and Ilval dwelt, and slaughter mid the Brahmans dealt. A Brahman's form the fiend to clock, fierce evil wore, and Sanskrit spoke. And twice born sages would invite to solemnize some funeral rite. His brother's flesh concealed within a ram's false shape and borrowed skin. As men are wont at funeral feasts, he dressed and fed those gathered priests. The holy men, unwitting ill, took of the food and ate their fill. Then Ilval, with a mighty shout, exclaimed, Vatapi, issue out. Soon as his brother's voice he heard, the fiend with ram-like bleeding stirred, bending in pieces every frame. Forth from the dying priests he came. So they who change their forms at will, thousands of Brahmans dare to kill. Fierce fiends who loved each cruel deed, and enjoyed of bleeding flesh to feed. Agastya, mighty hermit pressed, to funeral banquet like the rest. Obedient to the gods' appeal, ate up the monster at a meal. This done, fierce Ilval cried, and water for his hands supplied. Then lifting up his voice he spake, Forth, brother, from thy prison break. Then him who called the fiend who long had wrought the suffering Brahman's wrong. Thus thoughtful souled Agastya best of hermits with a smile addressed. How Rakshas is the fiend empowered to issue forth whom I devoured. Thy brother in a ram's disguise is gone where Yama's kingdom lies. When from the words Agastya said, he knew his brother fiend was dead. His soul on fire with vengeful rage rushed the night rover at the sage. One lightning glance of fury hot, as fire the glorious hermit shot. As the fiend neared him in his stride, and straight consumed to dust, he died. In pity for the Brahman's plight, Agastya wrought this deed of might. This grove which lakes and fair trees grace, in his great brother's dwelling place, as Rama thus the tale rehearsed, and with Sumitra's son conversed. The setting sun his last rays shed, and evening o'er the land was spread. A while the princely brothers stayed, and even rites in order paid. Then to the holy grove they drew, and hailed the saint with honor due. With courtesy was Rama met by that illustrious anchoret, and for one night he rested there, regaled with fruit and hermit fare. But when the night had reached its close, and the sun's glorious circle rose, the son of Raghu left his bed, and to the hermit's brother said, "Well rested in thy hermit cell, I stand, O saint, to bid farewell. For with thy leave I journey hence, thy brother saint to reverence." "Go, Rama, go," the sage replied. Then from the cot the chieftain hied, and while the pleasant grove he viewed, the path the hermit showed, pursued. Of every leaf of changing hue, plants, trees by hundreds round him grew. With joyous eyes he looked on all, then Jack the wild rice and saw. He saw red hibiscus glow, he saw the flower-tipped creeper throw the glory of her clusters o'er tall trees that loads of blossoms bore. Some elephants had prostrate laid, in some the monkeys leapt and played, and through the whole wide forest rang the charm of gay birds as they sang. Then Rama of the lotus eye to Lakshman turned, who followed nigh, and thus the hero, youth impressed, with fortune's favoring signs addressed. "How soft the leaves of every tree, how tame each bird and beast we see! Soon the fair home shall we behold of that great hermit tranquil souled. The deed the good AGASTYA wrought, he high fame throughout the worlds has bought. I see his calm retreat, that balms the pain of weary feet. Where white clouds rise from flames beneath, where bark coats lie with many a wreath, where sylvan things made gentle throng, and every bird is loud in song. With ruth for suffering creatures filled, a death-like fiend with might he killed, and gave this southern realm to be a refuge from oppression free. There stands his home, whose dreaded might has put the giant crew to flight, who view with envious eyes afar the peaceful shades they cannot mar, since that most holy saint has made his dwelling in this lovely shade. Checked by his might, the giant brood have dwelt in peace with soul subdued. And all this southern realm within, whose bounds no fiend may entrance win, now bears a name which naught may dim, made glorious through the worlds by him. When Vindhya, best of hills, would stay the journey of the Lord of Day, obedient to the saint's behest, he bowed for aye his humbled crest. That hoary hermit, world renowned for holy deeds within this ground, has set his pure and blessed home where gentle sylvan creatures roam. AGASTYA, whom the worlds revere, pure saint to whom the good are dear, To us, his guests, all grace will show, enriched with blessings ere we go. I, to this aim each thought will turn, the favor of the saint to earn, that here in comfort may be spent the last years of our banishment. Here sanctities and high saints stand, God's minstrels of the heavenly band. Upon AGASTYA's will they wait, and serve him pure and temperate. The liar's tongue, the tyrant's mind, within these bounds no home may find. No cheat, no sinner here can be, so holy and so good is he. Here birds and lords of serpent race, spirits and gods who haunt the place, content with scanty fare remain, as merit's meed they strive to gain. Made perfect here, the pains supreme, on cars that mock the day gods gleam. The immortal bodies cast aside, sought heaven transformed and glorified. Here gods to living things who win their favor pure from cruel sin, give royal rule and many a good, immortal life and spirithood. I, now Lakshman, we are near the place. Do thou precede a little space, and tell the mighty saint that I, with Sita at my side, am nigh. Absolutely, absolutely beautiful. Footnotes. 241. One of the hermits who had followed Rama. 242. The lake of the five nymphs. 241.1. The holy fig tree. 242.1. The breed fruit tree. Artocarpus integrifolia. 242.2. A finer timber tree. Shores robusta. Absolutely beautiful, beautiful chapter. The glories of the great saint, hermit, yogi, sage, Agastya. Absolutely beautiful. So many details, so many interesting details. Jai Shri Siya Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jai Shri Ramayana. Hail Ram. Victory to Ram. Roma Victor. Eternal Rome. Eternal Rama. Jai Shri Ram. Why is that animal, that sheep animal called Ram? Why? It is because Rama, God himself, appeared in the constellation of Aries as the god of war. Rama came as the Ramageddon to kill all the giants, Rakshasas, vampires, cow eaters, flesh eaters, all the blood-sucking vampires. That's why that animal is named Ram, because Rama appeared in the constellation of Aries. Jai Shri Ram. Ciao.